Good morning, guys. David, thanks for the introduction. It's a complete honor to be here speaking on the OR stage in front of friends, peers, and I think the rock stars and the movers and shakers of the XR industry. And it's a delight to host this wonderful panel discussion. Since it's a 25-minute discussion, I'm going to miss the introduction. The profiles are on the screen. There's a QR code. Please feel free to add it. It'll take you to a LinkedIn page. Add us, and if you've got any questions, we can take that offline. So artificial intelligence, I think it's in the hype cycle. It's everywhere, right? But you know what we were promised was that AI would be doing the hard job. The laundry, the dishes, and what it's ended up doing is, and what we would be doing is the creative work. But I think AI has taken over everything, each and every vertical. So I'm not scared, but I'm optimistic about what AI is doing, because I think what it's done is that it's democratized technology. It's given accessibility to everyone, because who would have thought that you could just sit at home, you don't have any domain expertise, but you could just put in a prompt and out comes an image. You put in a prompt, out comes a video. You put in a prompt, out comes code. And this is, I think it's still in the nascent stage, and it's 2024. I think about what's going to happen by around 2030. So I'm scared, but I'm also excited that everybody's got the tool. I mean, you can do it. You can tinker around with the tool free of cost. So excited, as well as maybe slightly kind of scared. And but this wasn't the case, when it all kind of started. So AI, it's got a long history. So around 1960s, at the seminal Dartmouth conference, the pioneers in the space, which is John McCarthy, Marvin Minsky, they actually assumed that they would be able to solve AI in a couple of semesters and build what they call the Turing-ready machines, and they thought that they would build these Turing-ready machines in a couple of years. And when that didn't happen, the investment kind of backed out. DARPA backed out the investment, and that's when we saw the first AI bust. So the reason I'm kind of showing you this thing is because I think all technology stack goes through these boom and bust cycles. And in fact, right now it's in the hype cycle, but the pioneers in the space, such as Gary Marcus, is saying that we are possibly at the cusp of maybe another AI bust cycle, possibly because the data is all but exhausted. And the reason I'm kind of showed this cycle, this boom and bust cycles, because I think all tech stack follows these up and down cycles. So even internet at one point in time was called a passing fad, and right now it's we can't do without it. And I think metaverse and blockchain are two tech stack which has received the harshest criticism. And there has been various obituaries written about metaverse. And I per se am not really upset with the media companies who write these obituaries. What I'm upset about is maybe they're not really looking at the data, because just last year 600 million users, and this year the numbers are growing year on year. So I think we're sitting at a fantastic point in time. All these tech stack is converging, and I think that we're going to move from carrying technology to wearing technology and break out from this 2D interface. For the longest time, I think we're stuck with this 2D interface, which kind of restricts you. But I think we're going to transition from carrying technology to wearing technology, where I think the entire world is going to be the canvas. And I'm excited for this convergence of technology, where these AI, XR, and Web3 meet. And the talk is going to be about that, this convergence of technology. So, Megha, my first question to you. You've been invested in HMDs, right? So how's the India market? Is India ready for HMD? And where do you think is going to be the first use cases?
So I think with hardware, and specifically in India, we cannot expect people to wear those big wearables and heavy wearables all for 2 hours, 3 hours. Imagine yourself wearing those things for even 20, 30 minutes. The first thing we have to do is to make the wearable really comfortable, because that is going to be the solution for anyone and not just India to accept those wearables for longer hours, to actually make a use case out of it. So be it VR, AR, MR, it is so much important that we need to make it more comfortable for us to use for a longer period of time. And specifically with India, and all across the world actually, we need to make it really adaptable to be able to use it with less complexity so that it is easier for us to adapt it and then move forward with new technologies and versions ahead.
Right. Thanks. So Kuldeep, you are a blogger. You're an author of the new book, Exploring the Metaverse. You part of Thoughtworks. You're dealing with the government and the enterprise. Where do you see the money at? Where's the money at in XR?
Yeah. So I think money is where we can generate the right value rather than force fitting the XR use cases. Many times the customer comes to us to build a use case, just try to build use case for XR, and they try to force fit the XR. But the thing is, where exactly the right value is, rather than force fitting, is the important piece. How really engineering effectiveness can bring the solutions of XR, how product design can be done. We'll have a session today from one of my colleagues. You can see there how the design paradigm of XR is really changing. When we have right design, we'll have right set of users, and then we will be able to give the right value. That's where the right money will come. Otherwise, you might have some use cases, some small POCs people will be doing, but when it comes to scale will come only when we have the right business generated out of it.
But Kuldeep, where exactly are you seeing these first few use cases? Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, so primarily, first, the most use cases we have seen is training and onboarding, especially improving the operational efficiencies of the processes. And in industry, if we see, there is a huge need of reskilling the forces. If we see the Gen Z is coming, and you see, for example, simple training of a fire department. Now, onboarding new people, Gen Z, they are already equipped with the technology. The training with them, the traditional methodologies, using traditional methodologies like PDF document or a video, I think it's not going to work. So that's where the interesting use cases are. Other use cases, what we have seen is improving the user engagement, the connection between people, like improving the museum experience. How really we can experience the history. History, reading by books is another way, but experiencing the history, going in that history and time travel there, and then experiencing that is a altogether different experience. So these are the key use cases we have been working from last couple of years. And there are a number of use cases in simulation and automation is also things, especially around manufacturing and software-defined vehicle category, where digital twins of the world and testing the autonomous algorithms is another area where XR is playing a great role. And that's where industry is trying to put a lot of investment there. We have seen quite a good growth in that area.
Right. So I think exciting things happening. There's a lot of startups. There's a lot of enterprise interest. So I think, I think there is a lot of excitement happening over there. So Rahul, you're part of Shemaroo. Shemaroo is a traditional company, one of the oldest entertainment company, oldest and one of the largest entertainment company in India. What kind of compelled Shemaroo to look into metaverse?
Thank you, Eddie, and very happy to be here today. Good morning, everybody. Interestingly, I think in the room we all agree that the shift of internet from 2D to 3D is inevitable. It's going to happen. And at Shemaroo, we believe that's going to happen as well. And then when we started this exercise last year in January, and we looked at the landscape of what is the 3D experiences currently being offered globally. And we realized that there's a huge gap. You know, India has close to 850 million internet-connected users. We speak about 24 languages. It's a heterogeneous market. And the current offerings which are in the market necessarily may not suit the Indian consumer appetite when the shift of 2D to 3D happens. And that's the trigger we sort of opportunity we looked at closely and started to build out an immersive experience, which should be accessible from a low-end smartphone, which should be accessible from an internet which may not be 5G, but at the same time also be accessible from a head-mounted display, which gives the true feeling of an immersive experience. And keeping this in mind, we said, let's look at what the Indian consumers are looking at when they shift to a 3D internet. Let's make it a familiar ground so that the transition happens smoothly. And in a way, you know, we as a company become the leader in the three-dimensional internet shift as it moves. So that was the main trigger for us to, you know, a traditional company, 60 years old in the business, to look at something which is so futuristic, because it's going to happen soon. And hopefully, I think in the room, all of us are working towards it, and we'll get there.
Right. So, Rahul, looking quite fancy. I mean, the visuals.
Yeah. I just want to add, so the metaverse experience obviously is accessible on mobile. We haven't gone live as yet on HMDs and some existing HMDs like Geo. But there has been a thought behind it. So when you enter the metaverse, you know, it's just not gaming. It is a lot more than that. It's, you know, you have a space for devotion. Indians love devotion. You have a Bollywood actors greeting you, welcoming you. You have entertainment in three-dimensional moving around you. So that's what, apart from a good experience, a familiar content ground will get repeat users to come to the metaverse is what we believe.
Right. How awesome is that? So I've got like a 10-year-old boy. He's already on the virtual world, which is 2D, still like a 2D platform. So I think it's just like a matter of time when they kind of transition to this 3D world, which gives you this fantastic experience, interactive experience, and it becomes more fun and engaging.
Yes, but I need the answer. When is it going to happen? We're not seeing that as yet, but I hope it happens soon.
Yeah, I hope really soon. I hope really soon. So Megha, in the space of HMD, right? What are the challenges and opportunities, you know, what you see in the India market for head-mounted displays? And is there like a convergence of sort? Because we spoke about this AI, spatial computing convergence. Maybe it'll be great if you can talk about that also.
So with HMDs, I think opportunities are everywhere in all kinds of industries, be it retail, be it entertainment, be it healthcare, and everywhere else where you can use a laptop, you can use an HMD, I guess. And with AI integrated with it, you know, it'll be so much more easier for us to access the real-time data and to be able to actually use it and make better decisions. When AI is integrated to an HMD, it only amplifies the capabilities of the solution. So if I am, say, a trader and I want to make a decision, put money in some stock, and I have multi-screens in front of me. So one way I'll be able to actually analyze the data every second, and on the other screen I'll be able to make decisions and put money out there. So these are a few examples. For example, in retail as well, the shopping experience are going to be so much more better with HMDs. You'll be actually able to see how the dress is going to look at you, or maybe just, customize a shoe for you before buying it, and things like that. In healthcare, we can see doctors are now operating from so many kilometers away, and they are so successful with it. Doctors been able to use HMDs while they are operating, while they are giving medications. It is going to save so much of time and productivity, and at the end of the day, money for all of us. So integrating AI with HMDs is going to be the best solution we'll be able to put out there that will be actually in use, and not just use cases, but actually use it in our daily lives.
Right. Kuldeep, AI and XR, Thoughtworks, what are you guys doing over there?
Yeah, so we are doing couple of things in AI. One is how really software development practices that we have built, how AI can help, how AI-based XR development can happen, how automation testing, for example, can be improved with AI technology. That's one Thoughtworks we are doing. But how we see AI and XR combining, I see we are getting extra sense of everything of the world. We are getting, for example, we are getting extra power in AI. What we can see from AI, what we cannot see by us, we can see from AI. We can hear extra thing with AI. We can get extra sense of the world with AI. We get more connected to even living being and non-living being. So that's where AI is giving us that extra sense, and we can build number of use cases on top of it. If we get and think about how it can bring equity to the people who are not lucky enough to have eyes, for example. People with disabilities, they can get all these extra senses will become their natural sense. So we are considering AI is the tool to empower human being more. So that's where all our experiments are around that.
Right. Yeah, so Kuldeep, yeah, I mean, it all sounds fancy. I mean, but I think the consumers in the over here, they would want to see those use cases like going out from the lab into the market, and I hope that can happen soon. Rahul, what's the future for Shemaroo? You know, you guys have built out this wonderful looking metaverse, and you mentioned it's already beta live. It's also on Geo. What's the future? How do you see metaverse evolving in the India market acceptance to something like metaverse?
Yeah, I think interestingly, you were showing some data about a huge adoption of metaverse happening globally on platforms like Roblox. The way we see the metaverse is it's just not gaming. You know, it's going to be it's going to recreate a lot of what you do offline and online together into one platform. And gaming is one part of it. Users will come back again to a platform when the platform works. Most of the current metaverse platforms don't really work on handheld devices like mobile. Some don't work on HMD, or some only work on HMDs and don't work on handheld devices. The adoption, especially in a market like India, will happen when people are able to at least have an experience of what a 3D world looks like. That's going to be a good experience for them. But what happens? Why should they come back again and again for either entertainment or living their daily lives or shopping, whatever else you're doing in a 3D world? I think that is a point we have to together achieve, both in terms of content and technology. The other reason why India is probably lagging behind in terms of adoption of the metaverse expansion is the lack of head-mounted displays. Officially, we don't have a lot of head-mounted displays being sold by some of the large companies as yet in India. And as the technology reaches more and more people, we will see that shift happening. And I hope when it happens, it's going to be a burst of users coming to the 3D internet. And companies like us have to be ready for that.
Right. I think that's what a good company does. And I mean, you know, it does the right research and development to be future ready, because, you know, the world is shifting or changing so fast. You know, I mean, it's imperative that you build out something really cool which stands through the time. So, what's the opportunity for collaboration? You know, because there are lots of startups over here. This question is for all three of you. How do you think, you know, the startups from Singapore or the rest of Asia could kind of collaborate with the Indian ecosystem, you know, startup, and possibly do business and take this entire AR/VR ecosystem forward? Maybe, yeah, Megha, you could start first.
So again, there are so many use cases that Singapore and India can collaborate on AR/VR. again, on specific use cases, if we see a lot of tourism use cases that can be combined with both the countries, there can be a lot of resources exchanged around that. Plus, so in terms of startups, there are so many startups that are actually building applications and services that support AR/VR use cases that helps both the countries to reach where we want to reach. Like everybody of us thinks that we are not able to reach that place, and to be able to accept and adapt the HMDs plus AR/VR all together combined with AI. So with so many startups in both the countries, we'll be able to see a lot of change happening in the ground level, which is going to help both the countries to actually adapt more AR/VR use cases.
Right. Kuldeep, you've got any thoughts on it? Because we are the software leaders. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff that the Indian startup ecosystem is doing.
Yeah, so one thing I would like the startups to focus is building community. The days are gone when developing in a corner and monetizing it. It's now the world is all about collaboration in the communities. And it's not just industry can do alone. It is the academia need to come together, the industry, of course, and the government and the people all come together and define the common standards and practices. One of the example in India, for example, I'm working with IIT Madras on a Metaverse India Standards and Policies forums. And similarly, there are other forums. So wherever that is happening, it is really important to combine and build a common set of standards so many startups can fulfill. For example, UPI is a platform in India. Lot of startups built on top of UPI as a protocol defined. I believe similar type of protocols and standards to define that can really scale the startups, and the whole ecosystem can spin up on those.
Right, right. Rahul, any thoughts?
So I think just not Singapore. I think every market has good opportunities for collaboration with the emerging trends in the Indian landscape. Enterprise startups have already tapped into that ecosystem quite well, I feel. But the main potential still remains in the consumer adoption. I can give you an example. We recently partnered with the Sandbox Metaverse, where together with them, we are targeting to onboard 1 million users on the Metaverse from India. That's a huge opportunity, which a market like India gives. It's the large-scale consumer adoption of the technology all of us are building. And I would urge companies to look at that apart from the enterprise opportunities in the Indian market, and vice versa, I would say. If you're building, let's build it together.
Right. Exciting times, I guess. I think, we're just getting started. And like I said in the beginning of the conversation, I think we are going to break away from the 2D screens that restrict us. And we're going to go from carrying technology to wearing technology by the end of the decade. So exciting times. Yeah? So thank you, guys. It was a great pleasure to speaking to you guys. And yeah, catch you guys soon. Yeah? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, sir.